What's up, guys? We're going to talk about the Event Dungeon team, the team that I have here. My best time was 7 seconds. The slowest time I've seen has been about 50 seconds. So far, it hasn't failed a single run. I bet I can even find my team on this list. Oh, look, there it is. 139, 100% success. It is obviously not free-to-play friendly. However, I want to share with you guys some other options you can use to replace these champions. So these are the different variations I used. I believe every single one of these are my team because I adjusted quite a few things. I had Airbeus' speed fast. I had it slow. I don't think this team was done before I had just ran it. Let's check this real quick. Yeah, Taras 212, same Taras throughout, same Seer throughout. Airbeus, I bounce her around because when trying for this 7-second team right here, I had to optimize quite a bit. Quite a bit of things that really shouldn't be adjusted, to be honest, but I had to make some adjustments. So this 7-second version, what I did is I took the stone skin gear off of Marichka, so there was no animation times there. I made Airbeus slower and no gemstone to increase turn meter boost effects so that she only got one turn. And then Taras hit hard enough to go ahead and blast the boss in 2 hits, 7-second run. I want to give a shout out to Fabi over in the RSL Leaderboards Discord, mentioning if Airbeus is taking a second turn to drop her speed a little bit and it should prevent her cutting in, which took me from 8 seconds to 7 seconds. Not a huge deal, but it is a big deal if I want that new, sweet name color over in the RSL Leaderboards channel, which is a pretty cool Discord to be. If you guys want to join, I will leave a link to it down below. Now, with this team, the champion builds, of course, if you have the optimizer, just now I clicked through that, but that was 50 more runs. But you already see how many runs I've done. I've done a ton of runs with this team, and there's been no fails whatsoever. It should be even more than 139 at this point. It should be like 145 or something. But either way, a ton of runs. I want to go through the champions, the builds, the relics, all that kind of stuff. If this loads, I can show you what's going on. But the event dungeon, the stats you need to go for, 258 speed is the ball speed. 505 accuracy is the number you're going to be shooting for. The team I was using right here, 142, I guess it hasn't updated yet. Not a huge deal. Let's take a look at these champions and their presets. Now, this version is not going to be the 7-second version. The 7-second conditions are pretty RNG heavy. It's still 100% safe, but it is going to typically go past that 7-second mark anyways. So having Airbeus fast versus closer to 320, it's not going to make that much of a difference. Now, in this version, she is prioritizing the following: 346 speed, Marichka's 332 speed with the following, Lydia is 311 with the following, Taras 212, very slow, doesn't really matter. If you look at the boss's speeds, the boss has a speed of 258. You're, of course, going to need 505 accuracy, but this speed, after your turn meter boosts, it's not going to be difficult to be faster than. Seer is 293. She is the hardest champion to build because I'm also building her for accuracy. She has a few pieces to be taken up, but basically that just helps whenever the increased defense is placed. You can strip that, do your damage quicker, and it just makes the run faster. It's not required, but it will make the run a little bit faster. You do need that 505 accuracy level because the increased accuracy Airbeus doesn't actually work on Seer because Seer removes all those buffs anyways. So the presets, let's take a look at the champion builds, and then I'll go over what exactly each champion is doing in their roles in case you're somebody who wants to understand it a little bit deeper. If not, here are the builds, here are the presets. You can see it on the Hell Hades optimizer. Get going. Good luck. Now for Airbeus, she is just built to be fast. That's all I care about here. This is the exact build I use for Chimera. She does not need 100% crit rate, nothing like that. She just needs to be speed tuned to the team. Once again, the boss's stats are over here on the Hell Hades website. For her relic, we have Journal of Necrotos. I take this off. She is no longer going to be able to boost and keep Seer speed tuned. I can show you guys an example of that just real quick. Take off the 4-star Journal of Necrotos. Airbeus all of a sudden becomes not so impactful. So we do the boost. We have the turn meter boost from Marichka. We have Lydia. Seer shouldn't be speed tuned here. She's not. See, there you go. The second I throw that Journal of Necrotos back on to Airbeus, well, now all of a sudden she's going to be speed tuned. So we'll back out again. We'll do this. So Journal of Necrotos being impactful on Airbeus is going to be very similar to how these gemstones could change how your run actually performs. This example right here, Airbeus will turn meter boost. We have Lydia doing her decreased defense and weaken, and then Seer will be speed tuned. Journal of Necrotos makes a pretty significant difference for this team. So you're really going to want to make sure you actually get that going. Now, Herbaeus doesn't have to be speed tuned, so she's not taking a turn after that first initial turn. That run just now, she took 2 turns, which is fine. But Journal of Necrotos, very important if your Seer isn't extremely fast. Up next, we have Marichka. Marichka, no Relentless. She is above 300 speed. She is somewhere between Lydia and Seer. Not a huge deal. You don't even need Marichka there. The turn meter boost isn't the most important thing. I can literally drop her, and it's still going to be fine. She is there for Taras. Now, she does bring other benefits, the heal, the shield, all this kind of good stuff, but essentially, any support champion will work. Marichka can be replaced. Now, her overall stats right here, good speed, turn meter boost, just helps out with the Seer speed tune. For Taras, his build is going to be as much damage as you can get. If you have another damage dealer who can do very good damage, throw him in his spot. So for him, we have really good HP, good speed, good crit damage. He is just going to be there to blast the boss. If you have Siegfried, possibly Finax, they're not going to be as tanky as Taras, but they could possibly work. So he's just there to deal damage. We have Malefic Talon, or whatever relic you have that's going to boost his damage, can be great. I also have the gemstone that's helping him ignore more defense. For his blessing, Crushing Rend, and his masteries are right over here. Now if we take a look at Lydia, she has these masteries, a blessing that does nothing here whatsoever. It is for Chimera, and I don't want to switch it between, but if you wanted her only for this, Brimstone or even Cruelty would be the best. For her relic, she has nothing, and for her gear, she has a shield set. Shield set can go on anybody, but to be honest, it's not even needed. Marichka will cast a shield, and you could just have her doing that. She loses the turn meter boost, but if you're speed tuned correctly, the turn meter boost isn't even required. And then Lydia's speed is 311, so just faster than Seer. If you give Seer any turn meter boosting gemstones, then you will want to make sure that she's not overlapping Lydia. You also don't want Stone Skin on champions that you want in a specific speed tune, unless you're mindful, because they won't have their turn meter reduced by the Tetsuya's passive or the boss's temporal chains. They won't have their turn meter reduced from that. Seer's build is the most difficult, especially if you're going for accuracy. The accuracy is not required. It's still going to be consistent. We have 293 speed, 330 crit damage, and 100% crit rate. Now, she is, of course, in 6-piece Merciless. Pick up the 6-star Crushing Rend. For the relic, you can get creative with this. You just want something that's going to help her do more damage. You're probably not going to throw your cat's gaze on her. I know I wasn't going to. So something like this works out perfect. The Essence Quencher is a very niche relic in general, but it is going to boost her damage by 20% of the target's current turn meter. So if they're all max turn meter, she's getting max effectiveness from this anyways, because they're really high up, and you'll see that in just a moment. But it's going to be boosting it up to 14% for dungeons, and then against the bosses, it'll be 7%. Not a huge deal. I just want a little bit extra damage to make sure these stats will be plenty to wipe everybody every time. And so far, I've not seen a situation where everyone didn't die. There was a few times where I guess one champion survived with a little bit of HP, but I think I had some different gear on her anyways, but it's very few and far between. So if we were to jump back in here and have Marichka open with this A2 ability instead of that A3, Seer should, she probably won't be speed tuned. Actually, she may be, because, actually, I don't know. Let's see. I'm not for sure if she will be or not. You could adjust Seer and give her a gemstone to boost her turn meter effectiveness from turn meter boost effects. Actually, let's try that out real quick. So what you can do here is, okay, just now Marichka used the A2. It was not speed tuned with Seer. But if I come in here to the Essence Quencher that my Seer has, and we drop this gemstone, and then we throw on this gemstone, and you guys like and comment and subscribe because I'm wasting all my Starstone, about to be forced into purchasing the Platinum Forge Pass. We have the A2 used there, and then Seer should be speed tuned. Nope, she's not. She's actually not speed tuned because we still don't have enough turn meter boost to get her where she needs to be. There is a team I want to show you guys in just a second that will definitely be working, but Marichka is going to need to use that other ability, apparently, because she's just not doing enough turn meter boosting, and taking that turn is just unfortunate. But there is a solution for this problem if you're running into it. Keep in mind, if you swap that stuff around, though, that now Seer's doing essentially 10% less damage than she was, because she's not getting that boost from that dungeon gemstone, which is actually a pretty big difference. Here we go. Taras has a counterattack there. Essentially, you do want Herbaeus to have her masteries with the counterattack mastery, because if she counterattacks after the boss does that hit and she's in a higher position than Taras, which she should be, then she will mitigate that passive that has the evade on it, and then Taras can just blast right through that. That's how I got the 7-second run. Now with Seer, let's put her back in the correct gemstone. This one right here. We'll socket that. There we go, 40 Starstone. And let's mix this up a little bit. So say we don't want to use Marichka, and instead we want to use Pythion. This may not be speed tuned because I think I did this differently before, but let's see. We have Herbaeus boosting. We have Lydia doing her A2. And then Seer, she is still speed tuned, which is fantastic. She's speed tuned now because Marichka didn't take a turn. Marichka taking a turn caused them to boost their turn meter by that 15%, which is pretty significant. Well, caused Tetsuya to boost his turn meter by that 15%. Now, this run may not be 100% safe. I can't say whether it is or not. I've ran it a few times, but not enough to know for sure. But it should be pretty good. And if this version is good, you can also swap Herbaeus out for Arbiter, and that version will also be good. If we can get around to that, because Pythion's going to be the revive champion, Taras is going to be our big damage dealer. Matter of fact, guess what Taras could be? Taras could be Siegfried. Now, my Siegfried is built too fast. My Seer's faster than him, so it'll be a little bit weird. But if Taras can survive, then we're going to be fine. He may not survive here, though. Okay, he didn't survive here. That's obviously a massive issue, and you would have to build a team with that in mind. Okay, we didn't do enough damage, but if you had Marius in this spot instead of Seer, it could definitely be fine if he was built to hit hard enough to just clear everything. That was actually the first time I've seen that run fail. But let's try that run again. We're going to have Seer nuke. We have Taras dropping his A3. That previous one was the first time I've seen this run fail, but obviously I don't doubt that it can fail. If you had Herbaeus tuned correctly to actually remove that block buffs, it would be perfect because she does have that strip. Taras or Marius in this team could also remove that block buffs as well. So some different champions in this team could help this be much smoother. Let's make sure Taras does his A2 because sometimes he just holds onto that thing. He just doesn't want to let this go. And that is the biggest chunk of damage for him, basically. And then comes back around to that A3 ability to go ahead and finish off the boss. So you are getting carried here by a very strong damage dealer. So whichever champion you're using as a strong damage dealer, they're going to be your carry. That's just how this run's going to be. And if you can switch Seer out for Marius, well, now you got even more damage going out consistently. I typically turn Seer's A3 ability off after the first go-around because I don't want her continually stripping all the buffs. Arbiter in this team is going to work exactly the same. I probably won't be able to use her here, though, because... Actually, no, I think I can because I do have Journal of Necrotos on her now. Yeah, so she actually should be fine. She's relatively fast. Journal of Necrotos is on her. So let's see how this plays out. It's not going to be as safe as with Marichka because we don't have that backup plan. Okay, unfortunately, it's not because we don't have the speed aura that Herbaeus brings. So now we could put in Marichka. We don't have a very high intimidating presence, so we already know my speeds are pretty close. So this probably will fail also because the speed aura is less than Marichka brings, plus I don't have as high of intimidating presence in this team, unfortunately. If Seer was faster, this would be fine. She's not. If I put the gemstone back on her, it may be okay. But basically, there are small breakpoints in the team that if you understand, I'm wasting so much material swapping this back and forth to show you guys. I literally have test server access and I'm not using it. And I also did this in a previous video and I just scrapped it. So I just wasted like a platinum forge pass worth of these star stones. But there we go. Point made. Seer now has enough stuff to actually do that. We go with the A2 and then Marichka gets a turn. So with this team, if you're just careful about, okay, I can't get my Seer fast enough. What can I do to pad that speed a little bit? Well, let's do a speed aura. Okay, we got the speed aura. Let's do a gemstone that increases turn meter effectiveness. Okay, maybe we don't need Marichka going before Lydia. Maybe we want her going in the back. Well, drop her out because she's here and basically just mitigating the turn meter boost from the enemy. She boosts turn meter by 15%, and then extra for debuffs removed, but there's no debuffs out there. So she's not really doing a whole lot as far as the turn meter boosting anyways. She could be a slow champion and be fine. But the main team I want to share with you guys is this one right here. This is the one that was 100% safe. I just wanted to give you all a few extra options in case you wanted to mix it up. In case you didn't want to run or you couldn't run this team, you could mix it up too. Arbiter plus Pythion, Arbiter plus Ancora, a revive champion. But it all boils down to Seer is the wave clear champion. Could be Marius. Could be an extremely well-built Nishak possibly. But really Marius or Seer are going to be your main two. Taras could be another super strong nuker. But I think he is just the best option. Marichka could be Pythion, a support champion to help your team stay alive or at least come back after they die. And then Arbaeus needs to be a turn meter booster of some kind if you want to make sure Lydia and Seer get through without having them extremely high speeds. You may be able to build them. I don't know if you could do that to where Lydia goes and then Seer goes without having a turn meter booster. It could be possible. I don't know how well it would work though. Either way, that is the team build. Thank you guys very much for watching. If you have any questions on any of the other stuff, you can literally check it out on the optimizer. What's going on here? Let's see. How is the Marichka built in this version? We had stone skin, 4 pieces of stone skin there, but I ended up moving her to not 4 pieces of stone skin eventually because the 4-piece stone skin. Actually, no, sorry. She is in 4-piece stone skin. I had her in Relentless at one point, but I can't risk taking those extra turns, so I had to get her out of that. But either way, I populated like 30 different variations of this team. This is the one that I ran the most. Either way, guys, thank you for watching. I hope this video helps you. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll catch you guys in the next one.